to Youth News, the place for members of Generation Z to talk about all the hot topics that are affecting us every day. I'm Janay, and with me I have Jaheem and Ariana. Now, let's get into it. Millions of people's favorite pastime is to watch their favorite athletes dominate their respective sports. These athletes include Cristiano Ronaldo, who is currently making $210 million a season. We have LeBron James, who is making $44 million a season. And not as much, but still impressive. The average hockey player earns about $3.5 million a year, but they can earn up to $82.5 million. So that's decent, I guess. Now, let's focus on the female athletes. We have gymnasts like Mary Lou Retton, who made about $54,000 a year. We have soccer star Megan Rapinoe, who earns $250,000 a year. And then we have the GOAT, Serena Williams, who earned a total $95 million in prize money throughout her entire career. Now, with all this money being thrown around given to athletes for what they do they truly deserve it all? Do they? Do athletes deserve to make this much money?
I feel like with females, it's a little bit more harder because they make less money. They do a really good job with their sport, like Serena Williams or other people. I don't know that many females, but like they don't make as much as guys do, like Cristiano Ronaldo. I feel like I said his name wrong.
Ronaldo. I barely know that man. You're good.
Or Michael Jordan, or even the average hockey player. They don't make as much as men do, and I feel like that's unfair because they do the same job. Their job is still dangerous.
But I think we have to dissect, why do we think women aren't making that much?
I think that women don't make that much because of society's stance on women and how we are viewed and what we are supposed to do. I think it does definitely go back to the olden days.
Please,
a woman's role and what she should do, and how a woman is not strong enough, a woman is not capable to perform the tasks that a man can. And so it's common knowledge that in today's day, no matter what you do, any career, a woman has to work 5-10 times as harder to get to the same spot a man is at starting pay.
No, so, I agree, because like I just mentioned Serena Williams, there's this ad, I think it was for Nike, how they asked a bunch of men saying, could you score a point off of Serena Williams? And all of them said yes. Even though Serena Williams has been doing this her entire life, is the GOAT for a reason, all of these men had this perceived notion like, oh yeah, she's a woman, I could get a point off her. And then they were shown that no, you cannot. This is her job.
And it's I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's sad because, hey, it's not true. I bet you if we put you on that court and she did what she's been doing for years, you wouldn't get a single one. You wouldn't score a single one. And then on top of that, what we were discussing a little bit earlier was, never mind, I just left my mind.
Oh, you're good. Jaheem, what you say?
Also, let's look at this. If you put any guy like Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, or still saying his name wrong.
It's fine, keep on going, I love it.
Or even any hockey player on a gymnast court and ask them to do any ground move, or like the mushroom, or bars, or even the rings, they could not do it, because trying to do a women's job, even though men do gymnastics too, trying to do something that someone has been doing for so long in one day, because you say it's easy and that's why we should get more pay, ends you up in embarrassment or hurt, because these people risk their lives every day to do this.
Yeah.
And they still don't get paid as much as the men who risk their lives to do it.
And what's crazy too, because like, you will not risk your life, like you said, playing basketball, but you can risk your life with gymnastics. I mean, Simone Biles had that whole thing where she had to stop in the middle of the Olympics because she couldn't figure out where she was in the air, and that's very dangerous. But I think we need to discuss, how are gymnasts making that very little? But I feel like with the rise of Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas and all these amazing women, people are tuning into the Olympics now. People are tuning into gymnastics. So in my opinion, I think they're being robbed.
No, definitely.
that they're not making it that much.
No, definitely. They are, especially the strain that it has on you. Like, think of how
Exactly.
young these women are and retiring.
Like
it's
21 years
crazy.
old.
Right. It's crazy. But I mean, it is a lot of these girls as well, we have to look at, have been doing gymnastics from 4, 3, 2 years old. But it definitely does have a strain on you. It has a strain on your body. So why are we not getting paid to do this? And hinting back at what we were talking about, I think that men a lot of times like to say, oh yeah, I could do it, without a second thought. I think masculinity has to come into play as well.
Definitely.
And that's where, you know, I'm a guy too, but like, that's where it comes into you just messed up. Just because of the fact of you say you can do this just because you want to be all big and bad. But when it comes time for you actually doing it, it's not like you're going to risk your life to do that. It's not any of that. Like, all these females and males that's in gymnastics, they risk their lives every single day to do something that's out of their way. They don't even have to do it. They can pick another sport or do something else. But for other people's entertainment, they still do it. And one thing can go wrong, like they can flip in the air and land the wrong way, break their femur, or
break their neck.
break their neck or break their skull, or land on their back and have internal bleeding,
Become
or break
paralyzed.
your spine.
Yeah.
And they still don't get paid as much as everybody else does.
Which is crazy because people are tuning in. But speaking of like damage to like your body, I mentioned hockey. The average player makes $3.5 million, but we have the top basketball players making like, what did I say, like $80 million, $40 million, something insane. What do you guys feel about that?
I feel like that's unfair just because of the fact of with hockey, you can get your finger sliced off or you can lose teeth. They get into fights every single day, so that's like not doubted. And literally, that's one of like the most dangerous sports because you can literally have anything happen to you. There was a guy who was doing, don't quote me on this.
Okay.
But there was a guy who was
Allegedly
playing hockey and he fell the wrong way onto someone's skate and his neck got sliced.
Ooh.
So, and it's like, okay, well, I just did all this brutal stuff just to get paid lower than your average Joe in any sport.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
because with basketball, if you get into a fight, they break it up, you get penalized.
Immediately.
Soccer, I have never seen the men fight.
No.
Not one.
You haven't?
I would like to see it, but I haven't.
There has been, okay, y'all must not watch soccer a lot because that is a violent
I
sport.
Definitely. Like we were talking about earlier, I definitely think that it's a part of supply and demand. Like I was saying earlier, here in America, the primary sports are NFL, NBA, men's NFL and NBA.
Yes.
Even though we do have women's, that's a whole, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, it's primary here. And so the brand, these men, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, I don't really.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, yeah, Steph Curry. All of them, they are really big and they're really well known in the NBA, and they have a brand behind them. Their teams, their players. I mean, they're not the players.
Their publicists.
Their publicists.
Their
all
managers.
of them.
Their agents.
They're not only representing themselves. They're representing a brand. These brands are making money off of them, and they're making money from they're getting their money from these brands, and these brands would drop them in a second if they showed a bad light on them.
Yeah.
Because who would want that? Who wants that? If LeBron James and Michael Jordan got into a fight on the court, it would be front page news, and it would be bad news for their publicists, for their team, for the NBA period, because this is what we're allowing, right?
So
and that's not right.
What I think you're trying to say is the players that make the most money, they're not just players, they're a brand.
They are. They are.
They're beyond just being athletes now. And I think that's the biggest difference because let's be honest, for a gymnast, I mentioned Mary Lou Retton, I mentioned Simone Biles. Are they as big of a brand as LeBron James or Steph Curry, in all honesty?
I feel like gymnasts as a whole, no.
Yeah.
Simone Biles, Gabby Douglas, because they have made a name for themselves being the first black gymnast to do something. Being the first black gymnast, they've brought themselves into that light. But gymnasts as a whole, the common gymnasts that you see even go to the Olympics, no, not at all. And like we were talking about earlier, they run a higher risk of getting killed doing what they do than those men do, but they don't get paid half as much.
Half as much.
And like we were talking about earlier, I just remembered it.
Okay.
How we were talking about with how people don't really care if women fight in the NBA or in the NFL. I think also because sex sells. And people see that have you guys seen the costumes or the uniform for women's NFL?
It's
It's a bra.
Yeah.
It's basically a bikini.
Oh my god.
It's basically a bikini, and people don't care. People don't watch it. It's really just for entertainment, because people find that stuff entertaining. Bad Girls Club. That's basically what they see it as. Oh, girls fight. We want to see it. Boys fight. That's wrong. You guys need to be doing the work. You guys need to be playing. Who's gonna win this Super Bowl? Who's gonna win this? I don't know.
Whatever.
Right.
So what do you think, Jaheem?
I find it quite funny because when a guy, like, it's like you're sexualizing a female for what they're wearing. You put them in this bikini, you put them in these short shorts, and you're expecting to see a fight, but it's like, okay, once it actually happened, they're wrong for it. But another thing that people don't look at is, what about all these other sports like croquet, marching band even?
Okay.
You can agree to disagree that marching band is a sport. But these other people don't get paid as much as a lot of these people, like with marching band. I'm in it. I carry around.
Don't they have that in the NFL? Not to interrupt.
I think
They have
so.
bands, yeah.
I'm in marching band myself. I carry around a 40-pound tuba.
Wow.
And I fell with it multiple times.
Ooh.
And it's something that's very dangerous. You can put yourself at jeopardy if you fall with a heavy instrument. Even if you fall with a light instrument, the way you land on it can be fatal. And it's the funny thing because you see teams like the Blue Jays or these other teams that don't get paid as much, but they get paid just enough to survive. And like croquet, you can easily get hit by a ball and you still don't get paid as much. But like with these things, you don't really think about it because with croquet, females wear polo shorts or skirts.
Oh my gosh. And their balls are like pool balls. Like they're like marble, they're hard, they're rocks.
Yeah.
And it's like the way that you dress up a person is the way that you think that they should look. Like how the females in the NBA, they get dressed up in these bras and shorts. Females in tennis, they get dressed up in skirts and shirts.
Barely anything on.
And
But
it's like, why are you doing all this? It makes no sense because
None.
it just puts you as the bad person. It doesn't put them as the bad
But
person.
I think we can all agree that this topic is very controversial. And I think that those people who are in charge of paying these athletes need to think about what dangers are these athletes facing, and they need to pay them correctly. Now, even though our conversation is over, it does not have to be for you. Please tag us in your opinions on Twitter @WatchYNN.